Brought to you by Penguin.
Reykjavík by Ragnar Jónasson and Katrín Jakobsdóttir. Read by Bert Seymour and Tamaryn Payne. Part 1. 1956. 6th of August. The grey hat flew out to sea. Christian had stepped out of the wheelhouse to admire the view over Flaxaflói Bay and watch the island approaching, low and green against the backdrop of the mountains. When the squall hit the little fishing smack, he had reacted fast, but not fast enough, grabbing for his hat only to snatch at thin air. Though he'd have never admitted it aloud, he thought that it could have been worse. The hat, a Christmas present from his fiancée, hadn't really suited him. Now he would have an excuse to buy a new one. It meant he would be bareheaded for his visit to the little island of Videy, just off the coast near Reykjavík. But what did that matter, when the whole thing was bound to be a waste of time anyway? Still only in his 20s, Christian wasn't usually entrusted with anything important, but he was on duty this August bank holiday weekend as his superior officer was away. It felt as if the brief Icelandic summer was already over that August morning on the boat, with no shelter from the wind and the sun hidden by cloud. As there was no regular ferry service to the island, Christian had had to improvise and do a deal with an old fisherman he knew. "Almost there, Christian," the captain called from the wheelhouse, his voice hoarse. Christian nodded, though there was no one to see, and did up another button on his overcoat to keep out the cold. If nothing else, at least the trip made for a change of scene, he thought, trying to look on the bright side. A woman, probably in her early 30s, was standing by the jetty to meet him. Christian had asked his fisherman friend to come back for him in an hour and a half. By the time he got back to town, the whole morning would have been spent on this visit. The woman held out her hand. "I'm Olive Blondell. Welcome to Videy." Her face was grave, and she didn't smile. "How do you do? The name's Christian," he said. There was something slightly off about Olive's manner, he thought. She looked a little shifty, yet at the same time he could have sworn she was relieved to see him. "It's this way," she said diffidently, and set off up the grassy slope from the jetty. He followed, noting that she had short red hair and was wearing a thick woolen jumper. Two striking white buildings with red roofs came into view between the island's twin green hills. The old Danish colonial mansion and the little church beside it. As they drew closer, Christian noticed how dilapidated they looked, the paint peeling from their walls and window frames. Beyond them, he noticed some tumble-down outbuildings, one of which looked like a cowshed, relics of the days where there was still a farm here. Halfway there, Olive stopped, turned and said, "We're not actually going there. My husband's at home. We live nearby." Christian nodded. "Does nobody—" She interrupted. "We have keys to the mansion, but no one lives there. It's a bit run down, but in pretty good nick considering its age. It's 200 years old, you know. The oldest stone building in Iceland." "This girl, Lara—" Again she cut him off. "It's best you speak to my husband." Christian walked along beside her, neither of them saying a word. There was a blustery breeze blowing on the island, but it was warmer than it had been on the crossing, despite the lack of sun. After they had been walking for a couple of minutes, he asked, "Excuse me, but you said you live here, you and your husband?" "We moved here in the spring to a house that belongs to my family. We spent last summer here too. It's—" She paused. "There's nowhere quite like it." Christian.
Sample complete. Ready to continue?